Well, well, well. Suddenly they need us, but we don't need them. Today's video comes from Soraya. Her channel will be linked in the description so you can go check her out and support her. And now let's just go ahead and jump right into the video.
Dozen women being asked the following question: do we need men? Most answered very quickly, no. Men were asked a similar question: do we need women? Most of them said yes. So why do you think that is?
That answer is quite easy. It's because men are less delusional. No correction. Men don't even have the time of the day to be delusional at all because they built the world, they run the world. But women, on the other hand, their ego sometimes is way too big to admit the fact that they need men. Or is it that men are honest enough to say that they need women when in fact they don't even need women to survive in and as a society?
And here's the thing, I'm so glad that Soraya actually pointed this out, that men don't actually need a relationship. As men, we are taught to be basically independent, to survive on our own, because we are not promised a relationship, we are not promised a woman, and we are increasingly well aware that relationships don't really work out today. Most women in Western society don't want to cook for you, clean for you, or do the basic necessities in the home. So a man has to learn how to provide for himself and take care of himself without being in a relationship. Most men today can cook for themselves and clean for themselves. They know how to budget, and they are more than capable of living on their own for the rest of their lives. An increasing number of men are basically walking away from society and saying, it's no longer worth my time. Rather, I'd rather be alone and focus on things that make me happy, like my hobbies or video games. But society in of itself is just not worth it for me. The fact of the matter is that men do not need a relationship for anything. In fact, they are increasingly better off without one. They are better off by themselves, and their chances of survival are greater alone. There's a study that came out that tells us fathers have the worst hearts, and it's because of a lot of the stress that is placed upon them. Men who are single and never married, on the other hand, are living the longest lives now, even longer than women. Now think about that very carefully.
But still, you got men who built and run the world sitting there and saying, yes, we do need women. Matter of fact, if you can show me a village, a city, township, country, where the land has been discovered by women, where women have designed, built, created, and managed that land, and created and built and managed that society that lives on that land, I will not say anything else. But if you cannot prove to me that that has happened, then I'm going to sit here and say that women saying that they don't need men is a false statement and just a part of their crazy delusion. Most likely, women are going to say that they don't need a man until they realize that they do need a man. And also, this video is not made to bash women. This video is for educational purpose only. And as you already know, this channel has been created to deliver the truth and nothing but the truth.
Why do you think that is?
Because men are useless. I mean, and by the way, I want to differentiate between straight men and gay men, because I think I would die without gay men. Nobody can gossip like gay men. Nobody can help you accessorize like gay men. Nobody can help you keep you from doing harm to yourself like gay men. But
she completely disregarded the fact that the studio she's sitting in has been designed and built by men. The chair she's sitting on has been designed, created, and built by a man. The camera she's being filmed saying all of these ridiculous things to has been designed, built, and created by a man. You know, this is the reason why I don't like talk shows like this one, because they absolutely don't have no substance. So her friends that are sitting by the table and the audience have nothing else better to do than try to think further between the wall and the wallpaper. Now, I'm sorry for saying this, but this is so true. These women, they're dead serious. When they say that men are useless, such in her case, and then she goes ahead and differentiates between men and gay men. I have nothing against gay men, but I don't think that a gay man would have been able to build anything, because they are just as afraid of breaking a fingernail, just like women are.
So I just kind of need to differentiate when it comes to GAY men. Just because you are GAY, it doesn't make you effeminate. And there's a lot of confusion about that. Many of the guys who were in the original MGTOW community when I started in the community now over 10 years ago, I helped to found this community, helped to found MGTOW. Guys, there were a lot of gay guys in there. And they were a large part of that community in the beginning. We don't ever talk about that, but it's true. And one of the reasons why so many of them were there is because they were stressed out with society. They were stressed out with the way men were being treated in society. Just because they are GAY does not mean that they cannot be masculine. I know it sounds very strange to you, but you have to understand that what someone is physically attracted to does not necessarily define whether or not they enjoy masculine things or not. Just because you are not physically attracted to a WOMAN does not mean that you want to be a WOMAN or that you enjoy the things that WOMAN enjoy. Okay? I'm not saying that. I'm not giving you a specific, I'm not basically saying anything specifically regarding that lifestyle or that choice of living. But what I'm pointing out is that a lot of these men don't even want to have anything to do with woke culture. They just want to live their damn lives and walk. A lot of these men walked away. I don't know if people realize it. A lot of GAY men walked away. Okay? If you look at the dating statistics, if you look at marriage statistics, GAY men have the best marriages of all groups of all groups. So the highest rates of divorce are among LESBIAN women. Okay, so basically among LESBIANSs, they have the highest rates of divorce, something like 70%. It's crazy, absolutely insanely high rates. Then heterosexual relationships between men and women have the second highest rates at about 50%, although it may have increased in the last couple of years. And then after that, divorces between GAY men is actually only around 30%. They have the longest lasting and strongest marriages. That says a lot. So think about it very carefully. What is the constant denominator in these relationships that are failing? The simplest truth is that, men cannot make a WOMAN happy. And then when they go to other WOMANs, they're even more miserable because they can't tolerate each other's nonsense. So it's a crazy situation and reality that we live in. No matter what you do, you cannot make them happy, nor should you try, because only they themselves can make themselves happy. What we're actually in relationships with narcissists and people who are abusing us and taking advantage of us. We are in a society that absolutely HATESs us. It does not like us. It wishes that we weren't here, but it demands everything from us. Okay? We are prisoners of the state, and women are agents of the state. They have special privileges. We have special punishments. That doesn't mean either of us is free. Okay? And of course, I am not saying all women are agents, but all women can operate in the capacity of agents. Okay? I'm just being very, very clear about that. I'm not saying all women are bad. I'm not saying all women are out to get you. I'm not making any of those distinctions. I am just simply saying that men are prisoners of the state. We are not free. We are punished for everything and anything. We do not have authority, but we have responsibilities. If you do not have authority, but you have responsibilities, you are not free. You are an SLAVE. Increasingly, what we are heading towards is being indentured servants, or a class of indentured servants. And you are treated even worse than an SLAVE. because an SLAVE has to be provided for by its master. The master has to provide health care. The master has to provide a variety of different things. The master has to settle the debts and all of this stuff. In our society, we have to provide our own food. But if we have to provide our own food, our own healthcare, our own housing, our own clothing, everything. You know, guys, we buy video games, but most of us don't even have the time to play them. Our dopamine rush comes from not from playing the games, but from going over to our Steam, or for me, my GOG library, and looking at all the shiny games I now own, and then basically going and buying more later on. Because I really do not have time to really invest. And that's how it is today. How many of us have nice cars, beautiful sports cars that we can never drive? We have a beautiful home that we don't even get to spend time in. What's the point? And as you can see, if men ever made a statement, and said something like, well, you know, what are men good for? What are good women good for? If you ever flip the script, and men ever said, oh, well, you know, if they ever flipped the script and they said something like what the ladies on The View said, calling them useless and saying that, but except for lesbin women, they're absolutely not. What would we do without them? You know, those are our queens, blah, blah, blah. We would be destroyed. We would be destroyed instantly. Okay? It would be called extreme misogyny, toxic masculinity, and everything under the sun. Guys, I already told you, when all of this starts to get, if in the event that, you know, society begins to say, oh, men, we need you, you'll have the same women claiming that they never said these things. All right? Even though it's right there, they will gaslight you till the end. And they will never take any accountability for it. I have met so many women in the past who take no accountability. Like, they're now no longer a part of the liberated women's front, but they blame the women's liberation movement for the decisions that they made, and they are hyper aggressive, as though someone forced them to go and believe these things. I'm a victim. So you're a victim for the things you believed. Yes, they tricked me. Really? So, you know, when you were pillaging with them, you know, you didn't think about it beforehand. Everything was because of them. Yes. Don't blame me. I am not guilty. No accountability whatsoever, guys. All right? Power and privilege with no accountability.
In fact, let's see how well women are able to survive when men aren't around. This is going to be interesting.
Independent, not, you know, relying on men for anything.
The expedition party has spent all day in the searing heat, only to find they've walked in one big circle, back to Coconut Beach.
How the fuck did that happen? I don't even understand. We cannot walk anywhere on this island without getting lost.
Let's rock and roll, boys! Let's rock and roll!
Why is it you're so adamant you're right all
Just
the time?
hold on. I'm not adamant I'm right.
Yes, you are, because you're dismissing everybody else.
Listen, I am...
Second one, boys, on the third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh. Fuck off! I'm telling you, look at them coming out!
Okay, well, where are we going now? Where are we going now?
Just
No
keep
more
going
confrontational
straight.
arguing.
I don't want to lead. I'm sorry, I don't want to lead this group. I don't want to.
Please, objectively speaking, looking at these clips, you tell me in the comment section who needs who. Does it look like women need men? Or does it look like men need women? To me, it looked like women were lost in the sauce, literally. And men, they were having the time of their lives. There were no women around that was nagging about the water, about hurting the fish, about, I don't know, hurting their fingers somewhere. None of that. They literally turned into little boys in the woods. Meanwhile, you have women arguing, fussing and fighting, there are crime breaking down, but I don't know. Let me stop talking. You be the judge. Let's continue watching.
Fuck! I can't fucking deal with this.
The women have circled back to Coconut Beach for a second time. Having pushed through the jungle for 2 days, they're not one step closer.
Nice one, brilliant.
For the moment, absolutely buzzing. Yeah, definitely feel like a tribe on a hunt.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it?
Everyone's come out prepared.
You really need to know how I'm feeling.
I feel fine. Another day at the office.
It's really hard.
We all need to be honest with ourselves. Ladies, get your head out of your behinds because we all need men. I mean, you may just sit there and be like, wait a minute, we don't have to survive in the bushes anymore. So, yeah, what are you talking about? We all have jobs. We go into the office. We're all boss babes. We got OnlyFans. We're doing all of these things. We're just living the life. Yeah, but where do you think your can of tuna fish comes from? There are men literally daily on the sea to catch the shrimp for your salad. There are men somewhere fighting with crocodiles so your purse can be manufactured. I mean, I know that a lot of women don't have the capacity to think that far, but there are men, as we speak right now, in dangerous situations so we can sit in front of the camera and pretend like we don't need men. Are you kidding me?
The women are extremely dehydrated. Instead of going out and finding clean drinking water, they're all just sat there complaining about how dehydrated they are. Do they think that if they complain enough, water's just going to magically appear? If you watch the men, you could see that they kind of worked more as a team and they communicated better, which is kind of ironic considering women like to think of themselves as the better communicators, but whatever. But the men would have the fire going while another member of the team would go and find water, then they'd come back and then they'd have the fire ready so they can purify the water. But yeah, the women, they just, for some reason, did not seem to have that teamwork going on at all.
Now, there was something very interesting that happened a number of years ago that they did. They took a bunch of boys and a bunch of girls, and they put a bunch of boys in one house, they put a bunch of girls in another house, and they told them to survive. And it was very interesting. Ultimately, they found that the girls survived better than the boys. The boys were basically rambunctious, they were destructive, and the girls were better at collaborating. Now, of course, it is very possible that they could have chose the worst of the boys and the best of the girls, and it was really socially engineered to portray males in a negative light. However, there's also another possibility. What is that possibility? Simply put, when men get older, as men get older, we realize how to conduct ourselves. We understand the importance of collaborating. What this strongly suggests is that as girls, women operate better because they have to adhere to systems of rules that society and their parents dictate. But as they get older, they are told by society that they do not have to adhere to the rules of society, or more so, there are a different set of rules for women and a different set of rules for men. Don't forget that when the Titanic sank, there were more women on the lifeboats than there were children. Women are told that they don't have to do anything at all to survive, and everything will ultimately be handed to them. You have to comprehend that children typically are better well behaved. Younger girls 7 and 8 years old, are typically more well behaved, in my belief, than older women who are in their late teens, 20s, 30s, and even 40s, because when they become adults, they realize that very often, or more often than not, the rules simply do not apply to them. This is the reason why, even if you look at the juvenile court system, it would appear that girls are more likely to be punished more harshly than grown women are. Why is that so? Because of simps. Because the simps want to have relationships with these women. So the simps are going to look at them in another light, and they're going to say, well, she is a woman, So I'm going to prioritize her and I'm going to give her special treatments, while men are given special punishments. Versus girls who have not developed into women yet, hence, they do not have the same value as a fully grown woman in the eyes of a simp. This is why I say simps are so dangerous to society and humanity. And guys, if you're enjoying the content, check out the Angry Guy Clubhouse. Inside, you'll get exclusive videos, top tier expat and passport bro travel tips, digital nomad guides, passive income strategies, pop culture and geek culture commentary, and hard hitting manosphere content. Free subscribers have access to videos, podcasts, articles, and the community chat. Plus, receive the passive income blueprint and digital nomad blueprint just for joining. Paid subscribers unlock even more value, including exclusive guides like the How to Build an Online Business in 24 Hours ebook, wealth building blueprints, and crypto updates. Join us today by clicking the link in the description and take your journey to the next level.
Maybe if those women would have opened up an HR department, they would have been able to get something done, but I highly doubt that because they ran around in circles for 48 hours, they are dehydrated, and they ought to be lucky and happy for that camera team that was there, because if it wasn't for them, I believe this could have turned into a very, very critical situation. And you may think like, okay, wait a minute, I'm never going to be in a critical situation my whole entire life because I have money to call the mechanics to the house if I need them to. I got money to take my car into the tool shop if I have to. The trash is being picked up on time. Those trash men will come through and pick up the trash. But imagine society breaks down one time. Imagine there are no mechanics open. If all men who are working right now, today and tomorrow, if they will go on the strike tomorrow for the rest of the week, we all look like those women in that clip.
I just want to point something out that more men are realizing as well. We've been lied to by society, being told that a woman will love you if you can give her the stars. How stupid is that? That's trying to buy someone's love. I'm going to acquire as much money as possible, as much wealth and resources, as much wealth and resources as possible, so that I can find a woman who will then love me for those things. A woman who loves you for your money and your utility and the way that you look does not actually love you. She may love the things you can do for her. She may like, she may like like certain things about you. She may like how you look. She may like some of your characteristics, but she doesn't actually love you for who you are. She is simply using you. We have been conditioned to believe that love and usefulness are the same, and that the more useful we are, the more a woman will love you. That's an absolute lie. That's not how love works. And we know that as men because we end up falling in love with very toxic individuals sometimes, just like women fall in love with very toxic individuals. And the people that they love, they give that to them for free. And there's no fancy dinners or, being there and listening to their problems and their feelings or any of that. They simply love the person for who they are, not based on anything that they can do for them. So we have been conditioned to be disposable for women and society, because by being disposable for women, then we are automatically disposable for society. And by allowing women to extract wealth and resources from us, then those resources are then reallocated to the state. Those resources are then reallocated to corporations. Okay? And do not misunderstand that we don't live under a democracy or a republic. We live under a federal corporation. All of these states that we live in, municipalities, all of these cities, they can go bankrupt. They all operate as corporations, and they all carry massive amounts of debt, and they're all selling bonds and certificates that they'll pay interest on. But they can't even afford those interest payments. Like, guys, we're heading towards extreme bankruptcy, but I'm telling you, it's going to be much, much worse than the Great Depression. It's going to be the Greater Depression, because they didn't have this kind of debt back then. During the era of of the Great Depression, our national debt went from 22, I think it was 22 billion to something like $200 billion. And that was a part of the whole New Deal package from I think it was Franklin D. Roosevelt. He spent like basically $200 billion trying to revitalize the economy. We only had a national debt of 22 billion, and he increased it by 10 times with these social programs. And that was a large part of what resulted in the value of our money beginning to decline substantially. And then, after all of that, keep in mind we went from having only $22 billion in debt, back before the New Deal. So at the beginning of the Great Depression, $22 billion in national debt, and now, not even 100 years later, we have $35 trillion in debt, onshore debt. 35. And the boomers are like, spend, 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 spend. It's not like we ever need to pay it back. And they're literally saying that Gen Z is going to have to pay for all of this stuff because the millennials are tapped out. Gen X has walked away and pretty much is waiting for the apocalypse. And they're saying that Gen Z is going to have to pay for all of this stuff. It's going to have to pay for all the benefits and all the entitlements for the boomers. The Gen Z is just going to have to find a way to pay for that Social Security. Like, talk about a load of crap, y'all. Talk about taking people for advantage. I do not commend Gen Z because they are being pests and they don't understand the necessity of working, but I can understand why no one would want to work in this environment because it's really pointless what we are seeing right now. There's this great comment from one of my subscribers, one of my only female subscribers. Most of my female subscribers, I can pretty much count them on my fingers, one hand, that, she said, and her name is Jal. She says, society has nothing to offer anyone. Okay? And she basically goes on to point out, society has nothing to offer anyone who has intelligence, proper values, and morals. We are just regurgitating yesteryear, but make it trashy and dumbed down. We are spiraling, and the few left with any intelligence, morals, and proper values are the only ones giving. That's why we are tired, depressed, anxious, etc. We weren't built to accommodate a society as broken as this one. When we are gone, once we have passed away and long gone, society will crash and all will have been for nothing. The worst is we don't have it in us to quit fighting, so we will just keep giving till there is nothing of us left to give. We are people who are rare and typically go unseen. Our words fall on deaf ears, our knowledge slowly being erased because no one cares. Our values and morals destroyed at every turn, cause no one is happy to be what they are. They want to change roles in which they cannot play, but will pass away on a cross to prove others wrong, when secretly even they know deep down they are wrong. We are a DYING breed, and unfortunately for men, you all get the worst of it. And she really sums it up so damn well. Very few women will admit that men have it the absolute worst, and that's why so many men are just walking away from society and completely opting out.
Just got done mowing my lawn, and let me tell you, I need a man. Like, seriously, I need one.
I keep telling myself that I'm a bad and I'm an independent woman. I don't need no man. I don't need attention, but I'm lying.
Okay, so to anyone who may know me a little bit, you'll know that I am pretty independent. I'm one of them of the mindset, who needs a man? I can do everything. And I was a firm believer of that until about 10 minutes ago, when the biggest spider just come running at me in my bedroom. And I've never wished for a man so much in all my life. I mean, obviously I've wished for a man. Feeling really bad, really guilty, and I'm probably not going to sleep tonight. So I've decided I definitely need a man.
As I said, women will only say that they don't need a man as long as everything is going well.
I honestly think that men who have this notion that, okay, well, I'm going to go where I'm needed. Like I saw an idiot in the comments say, "Go where you're needed and endure." Who would say something like that? A simp. Go where you're needed and endure? Why would you go where people will just take advantage of you and endure the pain and suffering that they put you through? Okay? That is an SLAVE. These are horrible individuals. These are people who are just using us for our value and our utility and want us to suffer. They don't like us. Everything is being stripped away from us. Use your damn heads. Guys, this is the reason why men are just walking away rampantly and they're not looking back. Suddenly, these people need us, but they don't actually want us. They don't even like us. Half of all women will be childless and single come 2030. In the United States alone, there's a reason for that. What do you guys think regarding all of this? Do you agree that modern women don't really understand what they've unleashed? And the fact remains that men should never have been getting into relationships with people under the pretense that if you can do things for them, they will love you. That's a very stupid thing. But our eyes are now being opened, and marriage is never coming back. Dating is dying, and it's not going to come back. If a man wants a relationship, many will go overseas to find one, but increasingly more and more men are just realizing it's not worth it at all. They'd rather just work just enough to survive and thrive and no more, and focus on themselves and their own happiness. Yeah. What do you guys think? Let me know your thoughts. We'll talk about it in the comments. Like the video if you like it. Don't forget to subscribe. And if you like the video, share the video. And just remember that all roads lead to MWA, men walking away. And cheers. Oh, and by the way, guys, here's the rest of Soraya's video. I'm going to let you finish up the video. And if you enjoy it, you can go check her out. Her channel is linked in the description. And now, enjoy.
The moment reality kicks in, the moment they feel discomfort, the moment they are scared, the moment they are in danger, all of a sudden now they want to realize that they do in fact need a man. But as long as they're fine, it's a whole bunch of insults towards men. They're losers, we don't need them, they're unnecessary, they're annoying, they're emotionally not fit, they're useless, and all of these things. Where is the clip of men sitting there saying, matter of fact, sitting on daily talk shows and talk trash about women?
From a man. We need emotional support to feel loved unconditionally, a team player. So when I have to go out into the world and fight these battles and prove my worth, I got my man at home saying, baby, you can do it.
I need a man. I specifically need a man to go to the mechanic with me, trying to completely overcharge me in every way, shape, and form. And it's also kind of funny that in one sense, on the invoice that they gave me, it was a specific price. But when I called back to schedule the appointment, they said, oh, the invoice is incorrect. It's actually this number times 4. It's got to be because I'm a woman and I have little to no knowledge about cars.
Am I the only one that gets annoyed when women say, I don't need a man? I do. I can't lift the bamboo pot by myself.
I need a man who cooks. A man who'll take care of my car. A man who will do yard work and house maintenance.
Was that enough proof? Was that enough video evidence to prove to you that yes, women in fact do need men? Ladies, stop saying that you don't need men, because even the most independent, the strongest independent woman I know, at some point in her life, she was hoping she would have had a man by her side. Whether if it's the spider under the bed, whether if it's something there's wrong with the car and she just didn't want to take it to the mechanics right away. It doesn't matter if it was the support with the kids, the bill that was due, rent that's due, or anything, even the emotional support, even the fact knowing that there's a masculine being sitting at your house, waiting for you to come home, or just appreciating your feminine energy. They all wanted men at some point in their lives. So don't fool yourself, because you can't fool us. There is absolutely nothing wrong with, in fact, it is needed that women acknowledge men for what they do on a daily basis as it is. Because you may think like, wait a minute, why am I supposed to acknowledge a man for what he's doing if he can't acknowledge me for what I'm doing as a woman? Yes, but women want to be celebrated for being grown adults paying their bills, while men are making sure we have electricity, the streets are in order so we can drive on them, and also women are not even in their feminine energy enough for men to appreciate them being real women. Let's be honest, but that's going to require a whole different video. So if you want to be acknowledged as a woman and appreciated as a woman, you first going to have to learn how to conduct yourself, behave, look, walk, and talk like a woman. Okay? That's enough for me for you for Friday. Thank you all so much for watching. Make sure you stay tuned for more content and make sure you stay safe in the streets.